We are ready to begin.
All right. We will call this meeting of the Facilities Committee to order. Can we get a roll call, please?
Thank you. Committee members, Kiesa.
Here.
Hume. Vice Chair Craig Hensley.
Here.
Chair Zuber.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
All right, next item, public comment. Do we have any online?
Seeing none online.
Anybody in the room? Thank you. Moving on, item 3, the consent calendar, the minutes for the last committee meeting of August 1st, 2025. We have public comment on this item.
No public comment online.
And in the room, from the committee, then I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
We'll have to do a roll
Oh,
call.
because he's not here.
Thank you. Committee members, Kiesa.
Aye.
Vice Chair Craig Hensley.
Aye.
Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 4, Valley Rail Program and Stockton Diamond Project update. You're doing this?
I'm gonna do it. Yes, noted. I'm gonna look at the screen because this one's not working. So as the Valley program has progressed, we have encountered some new constraints and challenges to project and program delivery. And we'd like to summarize those here on the slide. Long and difficult approvals, continuing construction environment cost increases, overall program funding source availability challenges. As we begin to sort of process through those, then what is the return on the investment for the taxpayer and the community? Impacts on sort of all of the various projects in the program moving forward. And then as costs increase, cash flow challenges of delivering that program overall. And as you know, this is a little bit of a deeper dive into a few of those challenges, but most of these are included in your board packet. But essentially, sort of like a summary of what I just mentioned. One of the challenges from the funding side is we estimate these projects very early on in the planning phase, but we don't really get to start to touch like the railroad right of way until much further along into the project development process. And then the grants have already been submitted, the cost estimates are lower, we discover new things and challenges ensue. As we sort of assess some of the state funds, we've applied for many of the programs, and now we can't double count the benefits of the current Valley Rail program on future applications. So these are things that we're challenged with. There have been over the life of the program changes that have come from Union Pacific. Like an example of those is going from side loaded platforms like you see here at Cabral to center loaded platforms, which are much more complicated to build with vertical circulation like elevators and the like. And then, one of the things that we have done is we really put together the new cost estimates for the program is take guidance from FRA in terms of how to plan for contingency for changes in the environment. And of course, and I'll show the next slide some of the cost impacts. This is just a snapshot of the indice for steel. As you can see there to the far right, the price of steel is continuing to escalate very high. I don't know, sorry, so someone's talking next to me. And if you sort of think of the Valley Rail program, much of the program consists of rail project, right? Building double track, building sidings. And so there's a lot of steel associated with the program, even including the station design, which include a lot of steel components. So as the steel indice goes up, project costs go up. So I want to sort of step back. So those are the challenges that we're facing, but I want to kind of go and talk about, well, what did we come to you last before we sort of explored the whistle stop in terms of what we were going to deliver as the program. And that's what you see on your screen right now. So you see one train from Ceres to San Jose, one train gets extended of the current A service up to Natomas, and it comes south on its normal schedule like you have today. So though we have shown this sort of map and this phasing to you, these projects were meant to go into construction. Doesn't necessarily mean that like on day one, right, like everything was going to be ready, but we were going to be working on all of these projects simultaneously. when you sort of consider that sort of service plan, these are the projects associated with that service plan. So you can see the projects in the south, these are projects that you as well as the public are familiar with in terms of delivering the service, and then the projects in the north. 3 stations, a couple of sidings in the south, a few stations, as well as 2 track projects. One of the things that is to note that these projects on this list are like in the plan were for these trains that are operating, and more trains in these corridors would require additional improvements. So that's important to note from a cost perspective. So as the cost estimates have come in, as we realign sort of like on the project that you just saw, we're looking at a phase 1 south project estimate of approximately $700 million. In the north, when you add that, that's an additional approximately $486 million. Right now, the current schedule, if we stayed on course, if we had all of the funding available for all of the projects that you saw on the previous slide, we're looking at somewhere around 2031, 2032 for a revenue start date. But that's pending UP negotiations and the funding availability and some of those funding challenges I previewed previously in the deck. And so really what it comes down to is when you sort of add those 2 numbers together, it's about just under $1.2 billion in improvements for 2 trains. And really that puts the program in a position where it is not funded. Now you might ask, well, what if we were to go to the later phases of the program and bring those funds into the first phase? That action would not be enough to make up the shortfall that exists in the program.
David, is that 1.19 billion 2025 dollars anticipating price increases, and does it also include prior negotiations about what we really need to spend to do what they wanted versus?
Yes, so these are $2025 with that FRA contingency that I mentioned, and that also includes the UP work associated with the projects that are in there right away. And so we took the information that we just shared, and we went to CalSTA, sort of the governor's arm of transportation for California, and we sort of let them know here's where we're at from a program perspective. And we talked to them about how sort of maybe the initial phasing that we have anticipated may not be able to be delivered in this way. They were really appreciative that we were proactive in sharing this information with them and not sort of like sitting back and like not communicating. And then during that meeting was really, I think we all came to an agreement that going back to UP for renegotiation was going to be a key to project delivery. Like clearly we can't deliver what's on the docket. We need to find some other path forward. And then we also agreed in that meeting was just discussed by Cece that the Stockton Diamond would no longer be a part of the Valley Rail program, but would be delivered by a different delivery partner, and we would focus our attention on Valley Rail. And then that meant that the monies, the SB 132 and TRISA monies that are currently on the Diamond could then be repositioned over to the Valley Rail program to help that shortfall, though that still just again would not reach the overall shortfall. There's still a need for those UP negotiations. We did, like at the direction of the committee, staff reached out to UP to discuss the challenges. So we sort of laid it out to them, similar in the way that I just laid it out. And UP agreed that the Rail Commission could submit an alternative proposal for what service we would like to operate in phase 1 that better matches the funding that we have available for the program, as well as sort of the project delivery timelines that we have to adhere to. And so staff is retooling the delivery and service approach to respond to UP's request in early October. So we are currently underway with that work so that we can very quickly get back to Union Pacific. I know it was that quickly, but that is the overview, kind of the status, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
David, I just want to make sure I understand the 150 million that's set aside for the Stockton Diamond gets redeployed It's not a contribution.
So we got approval from council to move those funds. There's some steps we have to go through to do that. But to move those funds back to sort of Valley Rail projects.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Does the committee need to recommend where those funds should go, or staff that have figured out a recommendation to bring to the committee in the future?
I think after the UP negotiations are completed, staff would bring back to you like a service plan to approve, and then the funds would flow to the projects that you approve in that plan.
That's it. We have any comments online?
Seeing none online.
Any comments from the room? This is not an action item. Thank you very much. Good job.
Thank you.
Next item, committee member reports.
None from me.
I went on a cruise for a couple weeks. So I can no report, Mr. Chair.
We appreciate that.
Okay, don't forget, we have a closed session.
What?
I was-
I wouldn't get these interruptions, we'd be there. Okay. Madam Attorney, read us in the closed session.
I shall, thank you very much. We have one item, item 6, and since we do not, we have all staff here, I think, and consultants. I'm not gonna read the entire agenda item, but it's one item, item 6, and pursuant to Government Code section 54956.8. In essence, this is a discussion of trackage rights with Union Pacific Railroad, and the agency negotiator is Jason Mortensen, executive director. Price and terms under negotiation.
Everybody see? Oh.
No, things.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out that,
back in here and then.
What did you guys get for lunch? We get what we.
I only ate the dessert.
Too, you know, jokes too. Mine's all salad, so I have to wait till I bring back. Yes, yeah, a little messy.
We're back. Read us in.
Okay, thank you. We have one closed session item on on agenda item 6, and that was discussion only. There is no other reportable action, and with that, you may adjourn the meeting.
See you all on November 7th. Most of, well, you never know. We may send a truck out.
Depends on the topic.
Huh?
Depends on the topic, that's
No.
right.
Maybe we can have a road trip and have a field trip.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Thank you, guys.
Ready?